What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to give you my top 5 most disappointing NFL players of the 2023 season so far. Let's get into it. So, first off, I'm gonna give you a couple names who are not on my list, and also, quick disclaimer: there's no rookies. I don't want to do rookies. You know, some definitely do deserve to be up here because we're going on week 13, week 14 now, and some of these guys, well, two guys really that are really standing out to me hasn't really improved from week 1 till now. But I'm gonna get into them in a few minutes. But some of these guys can right their wrongs, can turn around their season. A couple games left, and some of these guys will be in the playoffs. But some of these will not be. Some of these guys are done for the season as far as their playing time with their team. Once the end of the season done, there's no playoffs for them. So we'll talk about that right now. First off, guys who are not on this list. I'll go with the two rookies first. Tyree Wilson from the Raiders and Bryce Young. Two guys I was very, very big on. I wanted my Falcons to select both those guys. I did a video on Bryce Young to the Falcons back in 2022 saying my Falcons should tank for Bryce Young. And I did my prediction video pre-draft about a week before the draft started. I wanted my Falcons to take Tyree Wilson. Now, let's tackle Tyree Wilson real quick. The Raiders have him playing edge, playing defensive end. I said during my Tyree Wilson scouting video, you throw him into the inside. Do not play him at edge. He's not fast enough. He's not quick enough. He's slow of foot. He's a big boy. He's a freak, but he's not athletic freak. He's more of a physical freak. They need to really put Tyree Wilson in the inside. Put him in the 3 technique. Let him do his job there. Long arms, strong as I don't know what. But you have him on the outside at all times, it's not going to work. So I think once the Raiders try that out more often, I think he'll work out better next season. But have him on the edge is not going to work. Plain and simple. Bryce Young, what scares me about him, like I said, I wanted my Falcons to tank for him last year. So I love Bryce Young. I love him. Even when Stroud had great gear and played Georgia well, I still wanted Bryce Young. But the thing about Bryce Young that scares me to death, he's not getting better from week 1 to now, to week 13, week 14. That's the real scary part about it. I know the surrounding cast around him. Isn't the greatest. The talent around him isn't the greatest. The O-line isn't the greatest, but still, he's not looking sharp, and that's what scares me. But like I said, he's a rookie. I'm gonna give him some grace, but we'll see what happens next year, and we can really judge Bryce Young next year. And some guys not on this list, I'm going to touch on them real quick. Mac Jones, I know he played terrible, but the lack of O-line, the lack of weapons, and also the lack of confidence. I've been saying for a while, man, especially quarterbacks, and all players, but really quarterbacks, these guys are not the same. Everyone does not have the same mental makeup. Everyone can't be Tom Brady. I always question this, and as a player, do the Patriots organization, led by Bill Belichick, basically, he's the GM, he's the coach. Do they give you confidence? Yeah, they give you structure. Yeah, they give you scheme. Yeah, they give you great coaching. But for the most part. But do they give you confidence? Every player is not the same. Some players need a more dose of confidence than others. And great coaches recognize that. Most great coaches do. Some don't. The Nick Sabans, the Belichicks, from what I hear, I don't know. I'm a regular person, so I don't know. But from what I hear from players and former staff, is the confidence thing really, do they really push that into you? Or is it just, if you're good, you're not, you're not? And that's the question. Mac Jones had a good rookie year, made the Pro Bowl. But look at that year, though. He had a great first half and a below average to average second half. He really got into the Pro Bowl because of weak quarterback class, not quarterback class, but the quarterbacks to pick from, and also some injuries. So he made the Pro Bowl. The second year, obviously, he had Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, the defensive coach being the offensive coordinator, which was crazy. And then this year, he had Bill O'Brien and all that stuff. So, one of his teammates is on this list. And also one of Bryce Young's teammates on this list as well. Those two guys, respectively, could have helped out their quarterback in different ways, which we'll get into later. And then I'm going to give you the last guy not on this list, and that's Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts did not make my list. My Falcons tight end we still can't judge him yet. He had a good year this year, stayed healthy for the most part this year. Around this time last year, he was done for the season, so he's playing decent, but we still got to scheme him open more. And I always say this: we're in a weird spot as far as Kyle Pitts goes. What's his future like? Will we pay him? We probably will. Probably franchise tag him for 1 year extra to see what he has, maybe. But as of right now, until we get Ritter situated more, or him more confident, or him more trigger happy, I guess was the term I'm trying to find. Till we get Ritter more comfortable and really scheme open Pitts more, or get a better quarterback, we really can't judge Pitts yet, in my personal opinion. So, but let's get into it, guys. Let's get into my top 5 disappointing players of the 2023 season so far. And number 1, with no real order, but 1 on this list, Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, someone for the Chiefs, everyone thought would be a game changer. Traded there last year. He made a mark in the Super Bowl. The punt return, kick return, and a couple catches, a couple moves, or gadget plays here and there. He played well. He played well during the Super Bowl run, right? So this year, going to the summer, I was a big proponent. Toney's cool, but we still don't know yet. Sky Moore's cool. We still don't know yet. Get DeAndre Hopkins. I did a prediction video for the Chiefs and Hopkins prior to Hopkins even being moved. I had a video of him being traded. So prior to him even being cut, I was on the Hopkins to the Chiefs bandwagon. I did that video early on in the offseason, and then the Hopkins news came out. Then he ended up being cut. But as we all know, obviously, he didn't go to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs receiving corps has been struggling, especially Sky Moore, especially Kadarius Toney. And Toney so far, 22 catches, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown. That is insane for a talented player who was a first round pick, somewhere in the 20 range for the Giants. And as I said during summertime, Toney could be the guy, and he could be a bust. And so far, he might turn up again during the playoffs, because the Chiefs are guaranteed to be in the playoffs. But as of right now, through week 13, Toney is not the guy. He's barely getting play time, but barely getting the ball his way. You got guys like Watson getting the ball, Rashee Rice, obviously still Kelsey, but you cannot rely on Toney. His hands are just like rough, made of stone. He can't catch the ball for real. Like that first game versus the Lions was definitely telling, and was a bad omen for the full season for Kadarius Toney. So Toney for sure is one of the disappointing players on this list. I thought he could have. Some people thought, and also myself to a certain degree, thought he could have been a game changer. But another part, I'm like, I don't know, get Hopkins just in case. And I would definitely still say that the Chiefs should have got Hopkins, because Kadarius Toney is not the move. Next up, you have Juju Smith. Someone I said earlier, I alluded to about Mac Jones and his teammate. I did a prediction video on Juju Smith going to the Patriots a year too early. The year he went to the Chiefs, I had him going to the Patriots. I thought he'd be a great fit for the Patriots and Mac Jones the previous year. And that still carried to the next year following the year he actually did go, which is last summer. And he had a terrible year. Had a great game last night versus his Steelers, no question about it. But prior to that, having the off season and having the quote unquote bad knees, and him not performing well in a training camp and things like that, it started a rough season for the Patriots and Juju Smith. And you had guys like Kendrick Bourne playing well, but Smith couldn't really see the field. Some of those moments, especially early on when Kendrick Bourne was there. It seemed like Juju Smith couldn't close out games. The main target was Hunter Henry. The main target was Juju Smith. Was Kendrick Bourne. Bourne has been out for a while now, and Smith has not yet really stepped up to the plate until last night's Thursday night game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, his former squad. So there's a slim chance that Juju Smith changes his narrative for the season and steps up and shows his true value for the Patriots squad. But as of right now, he's been a big disappointment for the New England Patriots. So number 2, Juju Smith. Number 3, we have James Bradberry for the Philadelphia Eagles. James Bradberry since that holding call in the Super Bowl last year, has not been playing well. Turned 30, got a new contract during the offseason. So the question is, is it age? Is it, him having to switch from outside corner to slot corner, and do that fluently now? Like, what's the real issue that's really causing Bradbury to have a decline during this season? Last year, he was awesome. Him and Slay. And this year, him and Slay are both not playing up to par. And like I said, they just paid Bradbury, 3 years, $30 million, somewhere around that range. So they're on the hook for a couple more million in the next couple of years for James Bradbury, who just turned 30. So he's been getting burnt a lot. He's been getting targeted a lot by Brock Purdy, Dak. The list goes on. They had not been scared to target James Bradbury this year, and that's concerning for Eagles fans. So I think this Eagles really can go as far as Bradbury and Slay might take them. Hurts will be Hurts. The offense should be clicking sometime soon. The running game, all that stuff, tush push, all that good stuff. But the defense and the corners could be the end-all, be-all for this Eagles squad. And James Bradbury is a big spot on that defense. Him and Darius Slay both are having rough seasons, but really, really James Bradbury. So he's one to watch. Will he be the weak spot, the main weak spot for this Eagles defense? We'll have to see there. So that's number 3, James Bradbury. Number 4, Austin Ekeler. I did a video on Austin Ekeler just a couple days ago. I think yesterday, right? 2 days ago, something like that. I did a video on Austin Ekeler basically saying, the report coming out from Brandon Staley himself that Austin Ekeler might lose some playing time to Joshua Kelly. Austin Ekeler, as I said during that video, was my number 1 pick on my fantasy squad. I thought Ekeler would be a monster yet again, but this year, to my surprise, he's been garbage. He's been trash in fantasy, and he's been not so good on the field either. Someone who's 28 years old, wanted a new contract, he made a big fuss during the offseason to management about the owners, wanted to be traded, wanted some new money, and take it back. He didn't get a new deal, but he got some incentives added, some money added to his deal. He's owed $6 million for this season, and he's not playing up to par. So when his deal is done this season, I'm expecting a rough and tough free agency period for Austin Ekeler. So who's having a pretty down year for the disappointing Chargers as a whole, but he himself as well. They played the Patriots. He had 14 rushes for 18 yards. And that's kind of been the theme all year. Not that bad, but he's been having a rough year all year long. So last 2 games, the Chargers scored 16 points. He dealt with an injury from week 1 to week 4 with an ankle injury. So, he just had a rough year, especially and definitely at the worst time possible because he's supposed to be, trying to get a new contract during the offseason. So we'll see where he goes next year. I'm pretty sure the Chargers won't bring him back. Having a rough season so far this year, but there's a slim chance he could right his wrongs, but probably not, especially with the talk of him maybe losing playing time as well. So that's that there. And the last person on this list, number 5, Miles Sanders from the Panthers, someone I alluded to earlier. I said Bryce Young's teammate could help alleviate some pressure, and that was Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had a great year last year, a career year for the Eagles, but you have to say this. Is it really him? Is it the scheme? Is it the sorry offensive line? Going last year back to the Eagles squad, you had Hurts having an MVP style year. You had a great offensive line. So that could be the case. But still, Miles Sanders got paid nicely. He was there. He was brought in to help relieve pressure off of Bryce Young, and he's not done that at all. At all. He's looked terrible. He looked like a shell of himself from last season. Like I said, it's not all on him probably, but still, you're deemed to be a decent, good running back. You should still make some plays, make some shake, make some happen, and nothing so far from Miles Sanders this season. A heck of a down year, and it was also talks of him being traded or released around trade deadline time to try to see if someone else wanted him. Maybe a contender or something like that. But it didn't happen, obviously. But there were definitely talks about Miles Sanders being moved during the season to help, find him somewhere else to go, find him a new home because he's not clicking so far during his first year with the Panthers. So that's it for the list, guys. Kadarius Toney. Who was on those lists? Kadarius Toney. I'm gonna blank already. Kadarius Toney, Austin Eckler, James Bradbury, Miles Sanders, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are my 5 guys. Guys who didn't make it but should have, but they're rookies. Tyree Wilson and Bryce Young, and guys off this list in general for different reasons. Kyle Pitts and Mac Jones. So that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.